Because the way my brain's always worked, right? It's always like the way I've always like been is I want to like just have the experience that gives me the most enjoyment in that current moment, right? So it's like imagine, for example, I'm not streaming. It's like what do I want to do right now? And what I'll do isn't something that I feel like I have to do. It's like what I want to do the most. So is it, do I want to talk with this person? Do I want to work out? Do I want to walk my dog? And then whatever the answer to that question is what I end up doing, you know? Don't know perma post on clarity? It's just because like I read this post one time that a guy made, and he was talking about how he had like a body count of like 40, and like he would go out every weekend and like sleep with new girls and shit. And then he woke up one morning, and he was like, "What am I doing?" Right? And then he realized that it's all just like useless, shallow, like bullshit, right? And it doesn't really amount to anything. So it's like, why even bother doing it? Go to bed, Doaenel streaming. Wake up, Doaenel streaming. But see, like, that's what I'm saying. It's because I love streaming. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, a lot of people are like, dude, how can you sit here and stream like 12, 13 hours a day? There's no way that's healthy. Like, it's what I genuinely love doing. You know what I mean? There's like the other thing too with streaming. It's just like, what would I do if I wasn't streaming? You know what I mean? And that's like, well, if I wasn't streaming, I'd be doing nothing. So it's like, why not just stream perma? Worse. How long have I been streaming this much? Let's have a look, actually. So I've been streaming like over here. It's because I was still in school, and then in March is when COVID started. So that's when I started to get like 200 plus hours a week. 300 hours in December. 300 hours in January again, then like 200, 250. August was a weird month for me. And then, wow, November 322 hours. Holy shit. Wait, let me think. 4 weeks, 300 hours. No, you know, saw the 80-hour work week. Not too shabby. How much do I make from streaming? Let's say I were to go full time right now and only do streaming. Since I'm not yet making money from YouTube, with streaming alone, I would be able to probably have my necessities covered, but I wouldn't be able to like save or do anything like that, if that makes sense. So it's like I'd be able to sit there and like I could have food, I could have like my rent paid, all these different things, but I wouldn't be able to like sit there and go on vacation every week, you know. Take 50% of your income and you have to pay taxes as well. Well, yeah, so like that's the thing that people I don't think understand about streaming. Streamers don't actually make a lot of money. When you really get into it, they really don't. In like the league section, for example, I can guarantee you that everyone below Peck and Wolf from content creation and everything is making not a substantial amount. And think how, like, think for example, like I'm 500 viewers, right? I'm second row, and what I'm making would be like minimum wage, let's say, right? Like minimum wage. So it's one of those things where it's like, bro, at the end of the day, you're not actually making that much. The people at the top row, right? They make good amounts. But everyone below that, and this is the thing too, it's like, think of it this way, right? So I'm a streamer who makes like, let's say minimum wage, right? And to make minimum wage, I work like 300-hour months, right? Whereas somebody my age who is working part-time would be literally making like as much as me, right? So it's like you work double the time for like the same pay, and it's not just that. So it's like I'm like top 0.04%. You know what I mean? It's crazy when you really think about it. Like top 0.4 or 0.04%, and it's like minimum wage. Like this is where you start to say, you know what, maybe. But that's why, okay, hear me out. It's because I don't do sponsorships. If I did sponsorships, unironically, I could triple the amount of money I make a month. So as a streamer, it depends. Because if you want to live viably off streaming, you can start doing that from 200 viewers plus. But if you're going to do it from 200 viewers plus, if you want to like have a comfortable way of life where you're not like paycheck to paycheck, you need to do sponsorships. But the only thing is sponsorships are like, it's like a lot of time they contact you, there's someone to wait for you to contact them and stuff like that. Something you enjoy, you also work for yourself, there are benefits what you're doing. Oh, 100%. Like, I love the fact that I can wake up, just sit in my room all day, talk to you guys, chill, and I'm like paid for that. Like, I love that, everything about it, right? I'm not complaining. But what I am saying is people who think that like, oh, streamers, these guys must be millionaires, like it's not at all the case. But yeah, I would say, no, it's like I was saying, like around 200 viewers is where you could start making a living if you're doing YouTube. The thing about my YouTube is that it's not like super big yet. Like, I'm getting decent views from YouTube, but it's not monetized. It needs to get monetized. But it's like, they're giving me a lot of cancer with that. You probably pay significantly less gas than someone has to come to a job or something. But see, the thing is, I feel like you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. It's like, okay, can I explain it to you? It's like someone comes up to you and they say, I want to become an actor so I can be paid millions of dollars like Chris Hemsworth. But the thing about it is, how many actors are there out there that are literally practically homeless, right? So it's like there's this underbelly that a lot of people just aren't aware of because it's only the ones at the top that you see on a regular basis. YouTube income is insane. I saw a guy who gets like 60k views on a video the other day. He's making 30,000 a month. In the league section, 500,000 views is like $1,000. But again, it's like getting to that point. How many YouTubers are there out there that are like me, get 1,000 to 2,000 views a video, right? So that's the thing. It's like, sure, when you make it, you can make money, right? But it's like getting to the point where you do make it is very, very hard to do. And that's the other thing too. It's like I stream 300 hours a month, right? So it's like, since I'm still in school and since I don't have like a job, I don't have any like real obligations, that's how I can dedicate my time towards this. Not everybody is like available to, you know? If you do sponsors and vids on YouTube, it's a lot of money, but yeah, it's hard to get sponsors. Exactly, Thal, exactly. That's the thing, it's like, once you guys can find that, like, okay, so I know a big YouTuber, I'm not going to name his name in case he doesn't want you guys to know, right? Do you think Tyler1 is getting paid well? Lol. He doesn't take any money from YouTube, he does all his editor? Oh, okay. Yeah, I know Rat does the same. But that's what I'm saying, like, imagine Tyler gets, like, let's say he makes $2 million a year, right? But this guy is legitimately a top 10 streamer on the entire platform getting $2 million a year. Like, do you guys realize now that that's why, like, it's almost like what he's making is, like, nothing compared to how high up he is? It's like, I want you to imagine for a second, we're looking at a company like Amazon, right? With all the workers. And then you say something like, okay, well, at Amazon, if you're in like the top 10, you're making like this amount of money. It's like, you'd be like, wait, what? There's no way. Why do they give their money to the editors? Okay, so this is the thing that I'll explain to you guys. In the Twitch and YouTube scene, content creation in general, there are two types of relationships a YouTuber or a Twitch creator is going to have with their editor, okay? And one of the times, it's going to be just strictly business related, okay? So it's like, this guy's going to be here, and he's going to be like, all right, $10 a video, let's do it. And I'll be like, okay. But a lot of the time, you'll find your editor very early on when you're like nothing. And this editor is going to work with you through nothing and be willing to get paid nothing to the point where one day you're like, you know what, fuck it, take all the revenue. Because like you deserve it. And you're genuinely friends with this person and you want to see them make money from what you're doing as well because they helped you get to that point. And me and my editor, right, Enigma, I would say that we're more of like the two than we are the one, right? Like anytime that I start to make a bit more from Twitch, I always make sure that I up whatever I'm paying him, and like I always try to, like, I don't know, I'm trying to work on that. But it's like, it really depends on the relationship that the person has with their editor. And it's also like, imagine for someone like Tyler, right? It's almost like the YouTube revenue is like pretty small in comparison to what he makes on Twitch, and he can already make a comfortable living off Twitch, or like a very, very comfortable living, to the point where it's like, if you can make someone who's been working with you for years that much happier, then it's like, it's chill, right? Someone on YouTube said he gets like 45k just for like 30-second ads in one video. with 250,000. Yeah, that makes sense to me. My Legends of League that would get about maybe 7,000 views a video at one point was offered like $50 or $80 for an ad. But I was like, oh shit. So yeah, once you get your YouTube scaling, it's like it goes really well. I'm like getting to that point as well. It's like, so with me, for example, right? Okay, I'll give you guys like a day in the life of Doaenel, what it's like. Okay, so hear me out. This is what a day in the life of Doaenel is like. I wake up in the morning. I'll just respond to DMs for like the first hour of the day, whatever I've gotten, whatever, right? And then I'll get up and I'll work out. And then Enigma's probably going to DM me being like, all right, so today's video is going to be this. I did all the editing. How does this sound for a title? And what do you want the thumbnail to be? So then we'll talk a bit about that. And then he'll upload that. And then I'll work out. And then after I finish working out, I'll go and make my breakfast. And then I'll stream. And I'll stream for about 10 to 11 hours, right? And then after my stream, I'll sit there and I'll look through a couple clips I have had that day. And after I look through my clips, I'll DM them to one guy, Butcher. He's one of my mods, and he sends them to Synapse. If they're good clips, he sends them to Synapse. And I send them also to Says Diane, he's one of my VIPs. And then he gets them made into TikToks, right? And every morning it's like I upload a TikTok. So it's like, that's why it's at the point now where everything functions pretty well. You know what I mean? Like, things are already functioning pretty well. Would you rather be paid well by YouTube or Twitch? Honestly, YouTube. Like, I'd tell you YouTube, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're paid well from YouTube, it's like, on Twitch, it's easy that one day they can just decide to ban you, and then if they decide to ban you, well, you just lost all your income. But on Twitch, it takes so much to get banned, or on YouTube, it takes so much to get banned. And, like, even people do the most fucked up things, like, they're still there making income. It's a chain, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, so like I'll be here and for like 11 hours I'll stream or 12 hours I'll stream, but in reality I'll be doing like content creation for, let's say, 13 and a half hours. Steven said he'll never make it as a streamer. I told him you gave him the solution. Reply with your mom gave the solution to suck my dick. But see, okay, this is a thing. Listen, guys. Okay, I gotta tell you guys something. So my main problem with the streaming scene in general is that too many of the creators are fucking lazy. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, how can they be lazy? They stream 9 hours a day. But it's like, as a streamer, the stream in and of itself is like the laziest part of your day. It's like the routine thing you do every day. And then when it's like, bro, it's so crazy. Because a lot of streamers, they want to go full time, or they do go full time. And then when they do it, it's like they don't take it seriously. They don't sit there. They don't do YouTube shorts. They don't upload consistently on YouTube. They don't do TikTok. They don't try to increase their reach on other platforms as well. It's like they just go, they stream, and then they chill in Discord for the rest of the day, right? Because it's kind of like they're able to get viewers streaming, so then they just like keep doing that, but then they don't really, as weird as it sounds, a lot of people don't actually care about growth. I never understood that. Like, Stevens is a good example. Like, I've been telling Stevens does streaming, right, and like League full time, and I've been telling this guy for literal months, get on TikTok, get on YouTube, start doing all this stuff, right? And he's been like, yeah, I know I need to do it. And he only started like last week. But it's like, if you started back in August when I told you to, where would you be now? You know what I mean? You know, a lot of networking and social media growth, people just can't be fucked. It's not even like networking, because like a lot of the time streamers will be there and they'll be able to get a lot of followers off Twitter and things like that. But it's that they don't know how to, I don't know. It's like, okay, do you guys want me to explain it to you? I can actually explain it to you. It's almost like for a lot of people, once they start getting like some kind of following, they view it as like high school all over again. And this is like in a lot of the time that you'll find. They view it as like high school all over again, and then except now that they're like the popular kids and shit. So that's why they never really care about forcing themselves to grow and forcing themselves to sit there and like do more to get more out there, because for them, they're already the popular kids and they already have people who want to interact with them. So it's like they're happy in their current moment with what they currently have. Does that make sense? Alright, we could go crazy on him here. Nice. Bait out the talent ignite too. Perfect. Even if you use platforms like YouTube and Twitter, how would you get them out there? Here you go, guys. Let me pause the music because I'm actually gonna talk about something important. If any of you guys want to become content creators, I'll tell you some of the most important advice you'll ever hear. So if you guys are interested in it at all, listen to me, because this is very, very important and it's not really out there. Nowadays, the only platform you can really grow on is TikTok. That's it. Twitch, you're buried by millions of other streamers. Twitter, unless you're a girl that like will post lewds, it's extremely hard to grow on Twitter. In-game mother. Instagram, impossible to grow on even if you use hashtags. Just because all these platforms are oversaturated. The only platform nowadays that isn't oversaturated is TikTok. Because TikTok literally programmed their algorithm in a way that it always promotes newer creators. So if any of you guys are looking to get into the scene, the key is TikTok. And then from TikTok, you can build followings on Twitter. You can build followings on YouTube. And then from there, it's like you can build followings on Twitch and all these other things. But if any of you guys are looking to get into the scene, don't bother streaming. Don't bother doing your YouTube videos. You can if you want to. But if you're really looking to like make an impact, it's through TikTok. TikTok is literally the only thing. Trust me. Do you need to stay super relevant if you got tempo from other platforms? Okay, so like let me explain how like cycles will work. Okay. For the longest time, I was like, let's say 200 viewers, okay? Like 200, maybe 300 viewers if it was a good night. And then by starting the whole final transfer meme, and by making a bunch of TikToks related to it and doing all these different things, I managed to skyrocket my viewer count to the point where I was naturally peaking 1100, right? But the thing is that now I'm back down to like, let's say 500, but it genuinely doesn't bother me, and I'll tell you why. Because I know that a lot of like the reason people were watching me was because like the meme factor, right? So obviously once the meme factor is done, people aren't going to be watching anymore, right? And that's why it's like you'll have these things where it's like there are hype cycles, right? Where it's like you're going to have cycles where you're doing something, and then it's like your viewer count is going to like increase because of it, right? It's like, it's one of those things where right now it's kind of like streaming is one of those things where you're going to hit big things and then you're going to go down to baselines until you find the next big thing. So that's why with me, the next big thing is going for rank 1, right? My rank 1 climb. And that's why over the past few days, I've been really focusing on improvement, right? Because I know that that's going to be the next time. Because I know that the same amount of hype is going to be generated if I'm sitting there getting rank 10, rank 9, rank 8, as it was when I was transferring perma, right? So that's why when it comes to like tempo from other platforms, it's kind of like these platforms, while I'm working on my new thing, will be generating me viewers and like new viewers. So maybe I might go from 500, maybe, who knows, a month from now I'll be at 600 around this time, but it's not gonna like blow you up necessarily. Just that with consistency, it's always gonna impact. So that's the main thing about it. I should have passive. Some of the viewers from the meme cycle will say, and you will grow. Exactly. So like that's what I'm trying to make you guys understand. It's kind of like people are gonna sit there and you'll start doing this like meme thing that's gonna make your viewer count skyrocket for a little bit, but then it's because if you're genuinely like entertaining or whatever it might be, then because these people are sitting there and watching, they're like, yo, you know what, this guy's kind of cool. So then they're gonna keep watching, right? I found you on YouTube. So like that's the thing about me, right? Is that I'm a content creator who actually takes content creation like really seriously. And because I take it seriously, it's like I sit there, I'll do my TikToks, I'll do YouTube, and I also try like to, I don't know, like do stuff on Twitter as well, right? Because these are avenues or ways for you to like traffic people into like Twitch and stuff, right? And the cool thing too is when you start doing this, you develop fan bases on other platforms as well. So like I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna have like a YouTube viewer base, and I genuinely have a YouTube fan base. Like people who have never watched a single one of my streams before, like watch my YouTube videos, right? I genuinely have a TikTok fan base as well. People who have never watched any of my streams before watch all my TikToks, right? And it's like crazy because that's when you really start to become a content creator and not just like a streamer, right? You found me on Twitter. Exactly, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's the thing about it. It's like, I don't know. You just seem to always find ways to do stuff like that. And that's why, like, me as well, being kind of autistic has helped me a lot within the scene too. Because, like, I've noticed patterns. And, like, patterns of, like, content and, like, what works, what doesn't, things like that. So, if you're, like, really good at identifying patterns, you can actually find out, like, the kind of content that works, like, really well and stuff like that as well. TikToks and me screaming? That's what I'm saying, yeah. But that's why it's, like, hype too. Because when I sat there and I started, like, doing YouTube and I started doing, like, TikTok and things like that, it's like I never, ever thought of people coming to my stream through that. I always thought of it as more so something where it's like I would be doing it, and then people who watch my stream would, like, enjoy that, you know? That's why when you develop these, like, other fan bases, it feels so crazy. Nice. Why do I think I have, like, some kind of autism or something? I can identify patterns super easily. I can completely, like, disassociate sometimes as well. I have these, like, very OCD, like, tendencies too, where it's like things have to be done in a very meticulous way. Any kind of, like, surprise, usually I really don't like. Like, I like having my routine. I like being able to plan things in advance, and if something, like, randomly happens, not that I'll, like, be flustered or anything, but just, like, it'll give me a lot of cancer, right? So, like, those are a few of the things. How's my relationship with my family? Really good. Really, really good, honestly. No, that's the thing. It's like I'm not, like, ill in that sense. Like, I was never beaten or, like, any of these, like, awful things, right? Like, I've always been chill. Good mom, good dad, loving family. Like, no, literally, when it comes to family, zero issues whatsoever. Could be high IQ as well. I have the same and I'm gifted. You probably could be too. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe. But the thing is, like, I never, like, maybe I am gifted, but even if I was, I would never want anyone to tell me that, just because I'd never want to feel like I'm better than anyone. Does that make sense? Because the problem is when you feel like you're better than someone, it gives you an ego, and then that ego makes it so that you can't, like, learn and you can't improve as a person anymore. So it's like, even if I was gifted, I'd rather think I'm autistic. That way I think I'm, like, not superior in a way that makes it so I'm always learning. Does that make sense? Like, I want to program my mind to just always be in a position where it's like I'm a sponge, just, like, thirsting for knowledge. We're always students? Yeah, so, like, the reason I developed this mindset, actually, was because when I was like, 16, I always had this, like, really big ego, right? And I always thought I was always right about everything. And it took me one day getting completely humiliated in front of my class to realize I knew nothing. And then when that happened, I realized, like, I never want to be humiliated like that ever again, because I think I know something that I actually have no idea what it actually is. And then after that point on, I was like, no, like, I need, like, I'll give you guys a quote. I think, like, unironically, I think this is a Master Yi quote, right? So, like, maybe I am, like, disgustingly retarded in game, right? But it's like, a true master is an eternal student, you know? Like, I swear to God, when you, like, really start to hear that quote and understand it, you start to really realize, like, oh wow. Because the problem is, the second you start developing an ego, the second you start feeling like what you have, you're okay with it, and not just that you're okay with it, that other people should, like, look up to you because of what you have, right? Like, nah. That's one of the reasons why, especially with, like, Instagram, because I post, like, Insta stories every day. And some people have, like, the wrong impression of why I do it, right? Like, a lot of people think I do it because, like, oh, you just want, like, compliments like that, but it has nothing to do with that, actually. It's just because I know that there was once a time where I was, like a fat 14-year-old kid, and I never thought I'd have, like, any kind of, like, muscle or any kind of desirable physique, right? So I know that maybe there's a chance that there's some 14-year-old kid watching me right now, and maybe he's not happy with where he's at in life, and he knows that he can get there, right? And that's, like, a way to motivate them, you know? Or sitting here, right, and, like, grinding for challenge or grinding for rank 1. It's less about me actually hitting rank 1 and having the, like, the people being like, wow, you're so good. It has nothing to do with that. It's just to show people in season 4, I was like bronze. I was disgusting. I was like nothing. I was a no one. I was nothing, right? And then just through grinding, through sheer fucking will, I was able to do what I was able to do. Do you know what I mean? It's about showing people that anything is possible. That's why I do the things I do. Because you can just affect your reality in ways that even you aren't even capable of understanding. But a lot of people, they just like limit themselves for no reason. It's just one of those things where like where I'm at right now is somewhere I never thought I'd be years ago. And it's like if I'm here, then who knows where I'll be one day, right? And that's why I always like want to thirst for more, but never be content with what I actually... Well, there's being content, but there's like... You can be content without being satisfied, I think. Might flash. Okay. Oh. I think I'm dead. Unless? Death stands? Heal me? Whoa. Play Doaenel. Do I love Professor Colley? I'm just gonna say it. Every time people ask me, I always give them the same answer. Professor Colley is one of the most genuine, nicest, real people in the scene. And I will always stick by that guy, no matter what. Genuinely. And this is like the thing, like a lot of people think he's fake because he like clickbaits his shit, but he only does that because that's what he needs to do because it's his job, right? But as a person, one of the nicest fucking people you'll ever meet, genuinely. Not a single bad bone in that guy's body, bro. I love that guy. That's a very surprising answer. It's because a lot of people don't like Professor Colley. Because they see like he clickbaits and shit like that, right? But like, just think of it like this way: it's his literal job. You know what I mean? Like, it's something he has to do. But that's not indicative of him at all as a person. Listen, I'm not gonna name names, but I know a content creator out there, not a guy I'm close with at all. But like, this is someone who is like pretty well known in like the scene and gets like pretty decent money from the scene, right, and shit. And this guy used to like literally get in calls with like up and coming content creators and tell them to say slurs because he liked the way it sounded. You know what I mean? And don't bother trying to guess who it is because I'm not gonna like give you guys any hints. But that's what I'm saying. It's like there are some people out there who are genuinely like fucked up. But Professor Colley, no, nothing like that at all. Very real guy. Very real, very like down to earth guy. Didn't Professor Colley have literally slave contracts for his gang? Okay, so like let me explain that to you guys right now because I was a part of that and I can actually give you guys insight. The contract that a lot of people actually ended up trying to cancel Professor Colley over. Let me explain it to you guys. So what the contract was is it was a 50-50 split between the editor and the manager, okay? So it was a 50-50 split of ad revenue between me and Professor Colley for YouTube because it was a YouTube contract. And essentially all I had to do was stream, and every time after my stream he might give me ideas about what I could do for my next stream for a video, or he might not, whatever, right? But it's like no matter what, he would be uploading 6 times a week. He would be getting people to make thumbnails for me 6 times a week, right? And I started off with literally getting 100 views, so he was legitimately losing money by like doing the contract with me. And by the end of it, it lasted I think about a year with him. And by the end of it, he actually like lost money doing it with me, but he still continued to do it, and he still tried to like push it, and he still tried to like get me doing collabs with him and like pushing my outreach. So this like Professor Colley contract that everybody thinks was a scam was unironically a way to help newer creators get out there. Even Way of the Tempest, like he had him and he had Manco as well for the YouTube, right? And he's the reason why Tempest even started getting the viewers he started getting, because he would feature him and then Tempest would start getting views on YouTube and then those people go to his stream. Same with Manco. Like he literally made people's careers. Legitimately, he made people's careers. That's why when people sit there and they try to like paint him as like the bad guy, right? It's such a crazy fucking thing to me. It's so crazy because that's not at all what the case was. He literally gave people platforms with his platform, right? he gave them a way to like make it in a scene that they all wanted to make it in, you know? Stockholm Syndrome. It has nothing to do with Stockholm Syndrome. He legitimately lost money and gained nothing except like people saying like, oh wait, why would you like work with that guy? He's cringe. Literally, if anything, it's like it was a negative experience for him to have worked with me, but he still wanted to and he still did.